Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafters, welcome to my channel if you're new here. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today I want to make a fun mantle pleaser card, and by that I mean a big card. It's for a special birthday. It's for a 70th birthday that I'm making, and that's why I'm going big. But you can do this any size you like. You can just change up the sizes for yourself. Now, I'm going to be using some products here and I want to go through them with you. But the first thing I want to share with you is the card base. So I've done this style of card before. I did it as an anniversary card and I die cut out an opening. Well, actually the card that I used was a ready-made card which had an opening in it. It was a 6x6 card. So today I'm going to make a 5x7 card. So it should fit in a 5x7 envelope, but it'll open out to this nearly 15x7 card base. So I've used an A3 sheet of cardstock. It's about 220. I'm putting mats and layers on it, so that is going to be enough for the card to be stable when it's standing. My piece measures 14 7/8 by 7 inches, and the reason it's not 15 is because when you fold this over you need to have a little bit off it in order for this to fold over properly. What I've done then is I've scored it at 5 and 10 inches. Now if you don't have that size cardstock, so you can make this yourself if you have a shop bought 5x7 card base. If not, you can make one. Just take a piece of 10x7, score it at 5, and that'll give you a 5x7 piece. Then this piece measures 5 3/8 by 7 inches. Score it at a 1/2 inch and then just fold over your tab. And then when you add this to that piece, it'll give you the extra like what we have here. Now, onto that, I'm going to put some cardstock and some pattern paper. And my pattern paper that I'm using today is this. It's Craft Consortium Circus pack. And you can see here I've cut into it. And the reason is because there are images on the front, inside, and the back inside that you can cut out. Now, I'm not doing a circus theme for this card. I'm using this piece here. It's beautiful pearlescent cardstock. It's really lush. I hope it's picking it up on the camera. And I'm going to use this and this pattern, these two patterns on it, I think will be lovely. And I loved this opalescent sheen that's on the cardstock. So it may have a circus theme, but you can use this paper pad for any kind of card. So that's the papers that we're using, and I'm going to use them in conjunction with a lovely orange cardstock that I have in my stash. It's Lidl's cardstock. It's the Crelando. So I have 3 pieces of orange cardstock and 3 pieces of pattern paper. My orange is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and my pattern paper is 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. Now don't worry if you are going writing down the measurements. The measurements are down in the description for you. So these 3 pieces are going to sit one on here, then we'll have one in here, and this one here. Now, because this is a little bit smaller than these, we need different sizes. So I have 2 pieces of orange cardstock, and these measure 4 5/8 by 6 3/4. And my white cardstock then, it measures 4 3/8 by 6 1/2. And then you'll see on this one, I have pattern paper here the same size as this. But my white card here, that measures 4 by 6. I've used some stamps from my stash as well as a sentiment that I have typed up myself. I like to think of myself as a little bit of a poet. So my poem reads, hip hip hooray, it's your special day. It only comes round but once a year. So bring out the cake and drinks on a tray. Let's celebrate you with a special soiree. There's candles to blow out and games to play. Hip hip for you, today's your birthday. Wishing you the happiest day. So I'm going to pop that in there. And then this one, I've used the time to celebrate this huge birthday, and that's from the Showstopper Puns A5 stamp set by Made to Surprise. And the balloons that I've used are another Made to Surprise. They're the birthday rainbow stamp set. I've used the balloons on that. And this little floral here on this stamp set, I've put that here on this one, and I've also added it on the top and bottom here. Now, you'll see these two will sit on this side, which is our smaller side. So I'll put this one here, and then this one is going to go here like so. So that's how that'll go there, like that. And then I'm using some dies. These are Love from Lizzie dies. I was a design team member for Love from Lizzie, and these dies are available on Lizzie's website as far as I'm aware. I've used this one here. It's the third from the outside. For if you're using a die maybe that you have in your stash and you don't have these lovely label dies, this one, it's, let's see, it measures 5 inches long by 4 3/4 wide, and that's at the widest spot. I've also got a piece of acetate. Now my acetate measures 4.5 by 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to pop some numbers onto that. So with my piece die cut out, I have glued these two together, and I have die cut it out using my Big Shot die cutting machine, and it went through the two really, really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that on there, and then I can use this die again, or I can go one smaller and then cut that one out. So I'll just pop my piece in there like that. I'll sit my die back into place, and then I will bring that over to my die cutting machine, and then I will cut that out. Now I'll need to use a bigger die cutting machine. I'll use my Big Shot Plus in order to die cut this out, because it'll go in this way and it's 7 inches wide. So I'll put that in there. It may not cut this out properly or the whole way through, and if it doesn't, all you need to do is then take this piece off and pop your die on over where you'll see the cut marks, and then pop it through again, and that should work fine for you. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to take my acetate once I've that done, and I'll pop that on the back there, and then I'll sit this piece on over the top, and that'll stick my acetate down, and then I can put my numbers, my 70 numbers which I have here, I can put them then on the acetate. Now the numbers that I'm using are these. They're the Made to Surprise numbers. They're large modern numbers, and in this set you get not only the numbers but also the shadow. So this is the number and this is the shadow, and it goes right up to your 00, and then it has the ST, the ND, the TH and the RD, so you can use them, you know, for your 70th. There's a name, I think they're cardinal symbol, I'm not too sure, but there is a name for those, but I'm not sure what it is. So they're the numbers that I've used. I'm also going to take smaller frames, and I'm going to on this side, I'm going to die cut out a frame, and I'm going to cut out the image of the lady this card is going to. So I'll show you the frame once I've that done, and I'll show you where it's going to go in, but I'll blur out the person that this is being given to. I don't know if she'd like for her face to be on YouTube. So yeah, so that's everything. I'm going to take my die now, and I'm going to sit that into place. So I want to make sure that this piece is on the card base where I want it to go. So make sure you have that set in there nicely. We won't need those, and we won't need these. So I'll just take a little piece of low-tack tape, and I'll sit that on there like that, so it'll keep it in place. And then I'll take my die, and I will sit that into place there. It's like a jigsaw puzzle piece. It will just sit back in where it came out. And once I'm happy that I have that where I'm going to put it, I'll stick that down. So I want this to go right through. I'm not going to have a white border, but you could put a smaller die in there. You could, let me show you. If you took another die down, this one down, you could sit that in there, decide where you're going to have it, and now you can take these pieces away, and then you'll have this little white border. But I don't want that because my numbers are big and I want them to fit in there. So I'm going to take this away. I'm going to die cut it out. I'm going to die cut out my frame for the lovely lady that's going to go in there, and then I'll come right back to you. So now I have die cut out my frame, and I'll just pop that off there. There we go. And I'll carefully remove the low-tack tape, because sometimes when the low-tack tape goes through a die cutting machine, it can actually cause damage. So now I'm ready to pop that on here, and I have die cut out my frame. I have that ready, and I have all my pieces here ready as well. So what I'm going to do is go ahead now and do some assembly, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the back here, and then I'll be able to stick that down here. So I'm going to speed everything up now, and I'll talk you through what I'm doing once I speed everything up. I'm going to take my piece of acetate, and I'm going to add that to the back of my center panel. I got some double-sided tape on one side, so once that is adhered in place nicely, I'm going to then take some more double-sided tape, this is a thicker one, and add that down. I'll use my Collal glue because this is a nice strong glue, and I know then it'll keep this panel in place. Once I've that done, I will take my numbers. I have a little bit of double-sided tape on the back of the numbers, and they'll stick down onto the acetate. Once I've those down and centered nicely, and I'm happy with that, I can then add my mats and layers to the front of the card and the inside of the card. With the front panel here, I will add that later. I'll put a little sentiment there. So I'm adding my panels now inside, and I'm really happy with these. I think they look great. And then once I've that done, I can add my final panel down, and this will give me a place to write my sentiment. So I'm going to use the insert that came out of our center panel. I'm going to put some foam on that, and then I can put my frame on top of that. It'll give a lift to it, and I think that'll look lovely. Now I will pop a little piece of white cardstock behind the frame just for now, so you get an idea of how that'll look. I've die cut out an extra 2 shadow numbers there, and I'm going to put them on the back. I'll use again a little bit of double-sided tape and some liquid glue. That's quick grab glue, and it just tidies up the numbers from the back, and it'll make sure they don't fall off. So I have my sentiment stamped there, and I'm going to layer the 2 up. I'm gluing this straight down onto the front, and then that is our card all done. So here you can see our finished card. I've added a strip of pattern paper to my envelope. I've also taken this orange piece. It was from the frame that we have inside, and I thought I might as well use it. I die cut out a smaller piece in white and put a sentiment on it. This again is a made to surprise sentiment. I didn't want to go too much or embellish too much on the front because I don't want the card to be set on the mantelpiece with the front facing out. I want it to face out like so. And isn't that lovely? I'm going to move the envelope out of the way just for now. Isn't that lovely? I am delighted with the die cut opening here with our letters, with our numbers, our big numbers. And as you'll have seen, I've put another layer on the back, and this is just going to support the numbers in that they won't pop off the acetate. I took the inside piece here that came out and put it over here. I've added some foam to it. I have a place here for my image of the lady to go, and then we have our sentiment that I thought up myself, my little poem. I've added 2 strips of pattern paper to this as well. So we have the same pattern paper on the left and the right, and then we have a different pattern paper in the center. On the back then, we have our balloons that we've stamped and our sentiment, and this is a place for me to write my message to my aunt, and you know, when the card is displayed you won't see it. I do love it. I think it looks really well, and if you've enjoyed this video and this card make, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber, it costs nothing, and ding the bell, that way you'll be notified when I post another video. If you have made this card or style of card, I'd love for you to share it on my Facebook group called Your Cards and Crafts. And there's a little button down in the description. It's a thanks button. If you'd like to help support my channel, you can click on that. A list of all the different products that I've used is down below, as well as links to products that are available. So that's it, friends. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, take care, stay safe, and bye for now. Bye bye.